my kitchen today building my dollhouse because I don't have room in my studio upstairs or any of the other rooms except the hallway. So I brought everything down here to work on the kitchen table, and I'm going to show you my progress so far. I'm actually quite a bit ahead of where I thought I would be, and it won't be long before I actually finish this. I will have to build the outside of it though, which will be covered with probably either some kind of a luan or some other very thin wood, and then it'll open from the front. And I'm actually going to paint the outside, and it will have windows, but none of the windows will be see-through. And I'm not going to put curtains on the inside of it like you see a lot of the front opening dollhouses have. For me, I just don't see any point in it. But I'll show you my progress so far, and let's get to it. What you saw in the beginning was actually clouds after storm. We had some pretty significant storms here over the weekend. Anyway, here's what I have so far. I put in some of the molding, and this is going to be the living room, and I haven't gotten to this portion yet. And I'm going to deal with some things, marks and things on the walls too that I need to touch up. But I cut this molding with a small miter, and I also put in bullseye corners on the doors, just the doors. And in the corners on the floor, I put in a special little block of wood, and I'll show that to you later, so I didn't have to miter cut those. But the ceilings are miter cut. And I'm, as I said, in my kitchen on my farmhouse table. And I'm just going to be cutting some things here. This is what I'm going to make the bullseye corners with, and it's just balsa wood, and I'm going to cut little pieces out. And I have a couple of special tools that I'm going to use to make the circle, and I'm just using a piece of trim to measure. And I'll cut this out with an X-Acto knife after I get done measuring it. And I'm just measuring a square that's the size of the trim. We had a house, when my husband and I first got married, we had these bullseye trim corners in all the rooms, and the house was actually built, in the late 1800s. But here's a little close-up of what they're going to look like, and I'll show you closer after I get done. This is a little tool that has a circle on the bottom of it. I can't remember what it's called, and an awl at the other end. So I'm using that to press into the wood to make the circle, and then I'm going over it with the end of the awl and then pushing a hole right in the middle. And there you can see it. And these are going to be bullseye trims. I'm going to put a little piece of toothpick on the top and then paint it the same color as the trim, which is burnt sienna. I did speed this up a little bit, but not too fast, and so that you can actually see what I'm doing. And houses of this era would have had this kind of trim, so I thought it would be nice to put this in. And it does make it easier. You don't have to cut the corners on the doors. You can see that I have the foyer doors already done, but not all the molding is in there yet. It is a little hard to see because I painted it so dark, but when you get up close in person, you can actually see the bullseye. And that's just a piece of toothpick. And I did cut them with scissors, but then later on I found my wire cutters that were really sharp and actually cut the wood with that. And I'm just cutting it inside the box so that when it flies, it bounces back and I can pick it up. And I'll just use a little bit of Ultra Gel super glue to glue these little pieces of toothpick on top of the bullseye, just to give it a little detail after I sand them. And there it is. And when it's painted, it will show up. It's very hard to see. I don't have very good lighting in the kitchen, and I didn't want to bring my box lights downstairs. I do have to cook and that sort of thing, so I didn't want to fill the kitchen up with all my stuff, and I'll have to get it out of here in the next couple of days as it is. And I'm just making 2 at a time. And I've already made it for the living room and for the foyer. And this is going to be for the kitchen on the other side of the door. That doesn't open, by the way, that's a print. But I did find some brass doorknobs, and I put those in, and I think you can see it. And this is what I'm going to make the corner pieces out of. And I'm just cutting little links the same height as the molding along the floor. And this is just balsa wood wooden dowels, square wooden dowels. These were kind of hard to cut. There was some kind of something in the middle that just didn't want to be cut. And I'm going to take a glass head pin, a black one also, and cut the stems off of them, just leaving a little bit. And I'm going to put it in the top of these little rectangular pieces, and put a little bit of super glue on it to hold it in place. And they'll be painted the same color as the trim. Again, we had an old house, and it was in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and it had corner pieces like this on the floors, as well as the bullseye trim in the corners of the doors and windows. And I'm just putting the glass head pin in it and putting a little super glue right there. And I'll paint them the same color as the floor trim. This got a little fiddly. I kept sticking it to my fingers and pulling it out, but I did manage to get it done. And there it is. And that'll be painted, as I said before. And it will fit right into the corner again on the floor. And then I'm going to just push the moldings right up against it. And these are the corner pieces, the bullseye corner pieces. And there's another still. And that'll be painted. That's going in the kitchen. But all the rooms will pretty much have the same molding, except for the bathroom. I'm going to do something a little different there. And I haven't started the 3rd floor yet, so that's going to be the attic, and that will be in the next week that I'll tackle that. And I'm still waiting for some wood to finish it for trim. Well, I'll show you later. Cover up some of the raw edges. And I'm just using apple barrel paint. I'm not staining this with wood stain. I'm just painting all of the trim. And most of the rooms will have this same color trim, except for the master bedroom and the bathroom. And I'm just painting that little corner piece that goes on the floor with the glass pin head stuck in the end of the rectangle. And there it is. I think you can see it. It's still wet. And this just makes it go faster, and it adds a little more of a decorative element to it. And I'm going to be painting this trim and cutting it. Again, I'll paint it a couple times. I think this one's already been painted 3 times. I thought that this was plastic molding, but it isn't. It's actually wood with a coating over it. So I was surprised when I cut it. I really thought it was plastic, and it's not. It is actually wood. And so I was able to sand the ends on it very easily. And this is the glue I'm using, which is, it's actually a construction glue by Gorilla Glue, but it doesn't have any color to it. And the nice thing about it is it's very sticky, but it does take a little time to dry, but once you put it in place, you can make adjustments with it. So that's why I decided to go with that for the moldings. I'm just going to try to turn this a little bit. And I'm just putting in the bullseye trim after I put the top of the over the door, the piece that goes over the door. And I'm just going to push those right up against it. I just have my camera sitting on the table, so it's a little bit awkward. I'm not really set up as a studio, so in time I will be able to do different things, hopefully, to make my films a little better, easier to see. I'm just measuring. Everything is built out of foam board except for a few pieces of balsa wood. To keep it lightweight, everything is going to be lightweight because I don't want to have to carry this dollhouse around if it weighs 75 pounds. And it won't weigh anywhere near that when I'm done. And it's a rather large dollhouse too. It's going to be pretty big. I'm not doing anything special here. I'm just actually measuring. And now I'm putting some glue on the molding. And it's that Gorilla Glue that I mentioned before. I just bought a small tube of it. A lot of construction glues have a terrible smell, and they are very sticky, and they are a weird color. But I saw this, and I asked about it, and they said, "Well, this is a clear glue, but it's pretty tough stuff." So I thought I'd try it, and I'm really glad I did. I just got it at the local hardware store. And I decided to try to cut the trim with the scissors, and it worked out okay, but I decided not to do that too often because I did break a piece. And it is wood, as I said, and it's coated with something, a primer of some kind that's kind of looks like plastic. And so I was pretty surprised when I started sawing it that it was actually wood, so it does split. So I had to be careful with it. You can see my little miter sitting up in the front there near that bottle of super glue, but I do get to it. I used that for most of the trim. I did have some problems with the wallpaper. I used museum wax, and you can see the stains on the kitchen wall part where I'm working. But those will be okay because I'm going to put pictures in certain things right back where they were before, so they'll be hidden. I've never had it absorb into paper like that, but this is printer paper, wallpaper, so I imagine that was more absorbent than I had realized it was going to be, because I'd never had museum wax leave kind of oily stains like that before. I'm just going around touching up the paint a little bit here and there. And I have my paint in one of these little salad cups, and it keeps it pretty nice. So now I'm going to put the corner piece in right there. I'm just going to use super glue for those corners. And there, I stuck it in. You can see it off in the distance. And I'm going to start putting in the trim. And I'm just going to glue it. I've already measured it. It says you should wear gloves when you use that glue, but I find it difficult to use gloves. I cut some of the film out so you didn't have to see me struggling putting that in. And now I'm measuring for the back wall. And I'm putting in the corner piece that goes on the opposite side of the one I put in before that I showed the close-up of. And first, I guess I'm going to measure that little piece that goes right next to the door. And again, I use the scissors, but it just made sense at this point. And I got a pretty clean cut on that, so I didn't have to sand it. Okay, now I'm putting in a piece of crown molding. And I did cut this with a miter. All the crown molding was cut with a miter. That little silver one you see in front there. Oh, I'm also cutting off excess wallpaper that was sticking up above. And some of it you could fold over, but I didn't want to fold this stuff. It was kind of stiff, so I just went around and cut it all off. It was sticking up about 1/4 of an inch. Now I'm using the miter again. So, finally. And that's for the crown molding. Okay, well, this is the first floor finished. It just needs a few touch-ups. But as you can see, I've trimmed the front where the raw edges were, not on the bottom because it's going to be set up a few inches on top of a foundation, and I'll get to that another time. But you can see all the crown molding I put in and around the doors, and there's the kitchen. It's all trimmed out now. And the foyer. And the living room. So I wanted to show it to you before I put the top on because it won't be easy to see. I'm going to put the second floor in and go over that briefly. So that's the next portion of the video. And there it is. You can see it's quite a large dollhouse so far. And the downstairs is going to be the same as the upstairs, and the upstairs is going to be the same as the downstairs, second floor that is. And then it will have an attic with an attic bedroom and the sewing room. But that's for next week. It looks pretty good like this. there's the second floor on, attached. I glued it on. I noticed that the wallpaper had buckled with the wallpaper that was actual Dollhouse wallpaper, not the stuff that I made and printed out myself. But you won't see it when it's done because it'll be covered. I don't know what happened, maybe moisture or something. My husband is going to tip this back so you can see what I did on the ceiling. I put wallpaper on the ceilings. I was going to put canvas and I decided not to. It didn't look right. And so there is wallpaper. And there's designs that match the colors of the wallpaper in the room, but they're a different pattern. And I have, there's the living room. And it's the same colors pretty much as the wallpaper. And there'll be a ceiling medallion in there for the light and one in here in the foyer. And that's striped. And this one's actually polka dotted and it's the same, the colors blend in the kitchen. I'm not going to wire this dollhouse. I was going to. I decided that I'm going to, and I have already bought 2 battery-operated lights with the magnets. And I'll show that later when I get 2 of them. I've ordered 2 so far, but every room is going to have lighting, so it might take me a few weeks to get them. And there's the kitchen again from another angle. And the foyer again. And there needs to be a lot more painting done on the front of it, but there's wood covering the raw foam core. And that same wood will be throughout the next 2 floors that I'm going to put, so you won't see any raw edges. And there's the living room. And you can see the ceiling. And I'll have him tip it back down on the table again. You can see the wallpaper I put underneath it. It was keeping it flat. It's just another view of the kitchen again, and all the trim finished. It did take quite a while to do that trim. And now I'm going to do the trim for the second floor. That's the little boy's room, the bathroom, and the master bedroom. And I'm not real happy about that wallpaper, but when all the furniture is in and the pictures are hanging on the wall, I'm not going to obsess about it. It's my first dollhouse. Okay, so the bottom is done, and now I've got to get to the top floor, the second floor, and the attic bedroom will be next week, as I said. I think I mentioned that already. Attic bedroom and sewing room. There'll be another little foyer too. Those rooms will be smaller. And there's the white trim that I'm going to use. It was in front. I'm not going to paint that trim for the master bedroom. I'm just going to cut it and put it in. And the bathroom is going to have pink trim. And the little boy's room is going to be the same burnt umber as the rest of the trim downstairs. All right, and I'm going to show you, I think I have to move around here, the trim finished, and here it is. That's the room finished. That's the master bedroom. That was all the trim that I put into the bathroom and the little boy's room. And that's the crown molding for the bathroom. It's just a quick view of the master bedroom that was done. Now I'm using completely different trim in the bathroom. And the reason is there just wasn't enough room to put in the wider trim. So this is actually chair railing, and I'm going to use it as trim. So I won't put the bullseye trim on the bathroom door, but I will put it above the mirror. But I'll do the boys' bedroom the same as I did the other rooms. And that's the trim painted. Here's what the back of the dollhouse looks like so far. And that will be covered. Everything will be covered with wood. I might change my mind about that. I don't know, but it will, at least at this point, it's going to be Luan, pretty sure. And I finished all of the trim upstairs. I didn't make you watch me do that because it's pretty straightforward. And I haven't trimmed out the edges, the raw edges on the foam core yet, but I'll do that just like I did in the downstairs. That will be this week. There's another view of the downstairs, all finished and touched up and cleaned up. That's the kitchen. That's the master bedroom upstairs. I put the same bullseyes in the corner. And you see the bathroom is quite different. I put a shelf in above the toilet, and I boxed in the mirror. I put the bullseyes on the mirror in this room, and there's the boys' room. And that's all trimmed out. And I think it turned out pretty well. There's the bathroom again. Another view. Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you'll come back and watch some more videos next week. I had a lot of fun making this. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.